When most people reach out to me, they give me a brief rundown of what they're looking for in the villages and ask me to give them one or two neighborhoods to look into that would fit their lifestyle. I sincerely wish that it was that simple, but this community is so large that we have to factor in, honestly, a lot more things before we can truly narrow down what may work best for you. If you've ever looked at a map of the villages, Florida, and felt totally overwhelmed, you're not alone. With what, maybe like 100 neighborhoods or villages, as we call them, three formal town squares plus one under construction, and then that like hybrid sawgrass square. We also have like the new areas popping up every year. It is so easy for you to feel like you need a degree just to figure out where to live. But don't worry, I'm going to walk you through exactly how some of my clients make decisions and give you things to think about for what may work for your next home. So whether you've already started your home search or you are still in this dreaming phase, this is going to help you kind of hone in on the area that may be right for you. I'm Caitlin, a realtor with LPT Realty, and this is Visit the Villages, Florida. Today I'm at the Lake Manoa Regional Recreation Center on the Black Lake walking path. This path has like the rubber composite pathways, so it's easier on your joints and it's pretty shaded, so you can come out for a nice stroll and just feel back in nature, all while being very close to the rest of activities. This rec center and walking path is in the area called Between the Sixes, 466 and 466A, and is close to Lake Sumter Landing. I think that this is an awesome place to explore, and you really don't see that many people out here on the walking paths, so it's a good place to kind of have some reflection or quiet time if you need that. And we all know I do. I love that I can come back out here and showcase different areas around the bubble now that this stinking heat wave has finally moved away from us. So let's get into it. So before you jump into looking at houses, I want you to think about your lifestyle. What kind of days do you want to have here? Are you somebody who wants to hop in your golf cart and be at the square in 10 minutes or less for live music or a drink, or you like to go out to dinner all the time and you want to have that convenience? Then maybe you're going to have to focus on homes near the squares. Maybe you prefer peaceful mornings in your lanai with the birds chirping. Then you may want to consider areas that have more mature trees. The point is, the life that you want should drive your search, not just the house. I think a lot of people may struggle with this initial step because most of the time, moving to the villages is completely changing their normal day-to-day with something that I would say is probably abnormal for most neighborhoods. So ask yourself, what do you do or what do you want to do in a typical week? Are you into swimming laps, pickleball, or fitness classes? Then maybe make sure you're near a regional rec center or a sports pool. If you're more into book clubs, bridge, or social dancing, you may want to live near a village regional or village rec center that has more opportunities for like inside activities. And then, of course, everyday errands, groceries, lunch, haircuts. Do you want to be near a Publix or a Walgreens that's just a short golf cart ride away? A lot of people overlook this until they realize they're 25 minutes from their favorite shops. And I know that when you are starting your search, you will hear people say that 25 minutes is a short distance compared to what they're used to driving now for, clothing or grocery stores. But I think once you're in the bubble, the sense of time and driving distance all starts to get pretty skewed, only because we've kind of been conditioned to having things within such easy access. I also think it's important to factor in what you think your primary mode of transportation is going to be. If you are going to heavily lean into the golf cart way of life, you will want to make sure that your shops are going to have golf cart access. There is a handful of areas around the villages that do not have connectability to the rest of the multimodal paths, even though like a vast majority of places here will have access to golf carts. One example that's just off the top of my head, and that's because it's like the new hot button, is the Target that's going to go up at 466A, and it's opening August 17th. But because of where it sits on the street, there are no tunnels that will take you into that shopping complex by golf cart. Even if you have a street legal golf cart, it's not permitted to go on 466A because the speed limit is above 35 miles per hour. If you are looking at homes in the very far south side, like around Eastport or Middleton, where I live, you may want to consider that we don't currently have a lot of shopping options around us right now. There is a new Walmart that's under construction, and that's going to be one of the big super Walmarts with grocery and home things at the intersection of 44 and Morris Boulevard, but that's still going to be around like 15-20 minutes away. If I wanted to go to TJ Maxx, the closest one is about 40 minutes on the north side near Lady Lake and Spanish Springs. There are a lot of question marks that come up for things that are all like south of Warm Springs for what's going to be built, and nobody really has those answers besides the developer. And until those things are announced, we just kind of have to sit and wait and take some guesses. This next part is big. Not every village has every type of home in the style that you're looking for. Most homes, with very few exceptions, are in just about every village community. But let's just say you're looking for a veranda. They didn't exist when Lake Sumter was under construction. So those styles of homes will only be found more on the southern side, below Brownwood. Certain models of homes were added or archived as the community grew. So if you have your heart set on a certain home, the location factor may have to come secondary to the home. Which, speaking of, if you want new construction, you're going to be just looking at the Eastport area because that's just where the new homes are being built right now. All right, let's talk about money. Your total cost of home ownership includes more than just the home price. And I know everybody just set out like a collective duh when I said that. Everybody will have the amenity fee and maintenance fees. But the big variable is the bond, and that's the bond balance that's going to be on any of the houses. Newer homes tend to have higher bonds, and those can add hundreds to your monthly costs. Some older homes have the bonds that are fully paid off. But remember, maintenance is always going to be on your tax bill. I will say, even though I'm not the biggest fan of the concept of the bond, if you are only looking at houses that have the bond balance completely paid off for your home search, you may be limiting what is available to you. It's not impossible to find a newer home that has the bond paid off, but it is pretty rare. And most of the time, people are going to keep the bond on the home because it's not something that a seller can get back when they're going to sell their home because it's a taxable item and it's not just a upgrade feature to the house, really. So if you are adamant on having a home south of 44 with no bond, we may be searching for a little while or having to make some other concessions in order to get the seller to pay off the bond balance at closing, which also is not completely unheard of. We'll go through each option and see which one makes more financial sense for you in your situation. Some people love the idea of moving into a brand new home in a brand new village where everybody is figuring it all out together and nobody's ever going to be like the new guy. Others want to live in established areas like this where the trees are taller, the neighborhoods are settled, and landscaping just has more time to mature. Neither is right or wrong, but it is something to be aware of and pay attention when you come to visit for the first time. If you're drawn to the look and feel of the northern villages like Santiago or Amelia, that's a very different experience than brand new homes in Dabney or Edenfield. And we have to consider that the villages is still growing fast. If we're looking at homes near open land, let's ask if we know what's going to be there or search to see if there was any recent land sales that may suggest new development. It could be a future apartment building, or it could be a commercial plaza. That could be a huge plus. I mean, or not. We don't know what we're looking at until we can do a little bit more of a deep dive. And then also think about how long the construction around you is going to be happening. The nice thing about the villages in the new sections, though, is they don't like to sell houses with empty lots right next door and have them under construction. So what they'll do is they like to close out a whole street or loop at a time, so everybody's kind of moving in around the same time. That's not to say that other areas of the neighborhood will not be under construction when you pass by, but your immediate area probably won't be. A few months ago, our area was named as the fastest growing city in Florida and number 3 in the country with an 18.5% increase. They cited our area as Wildwood and Leesburg, but I think we can all say Wildwood and Leesburg are not the growing areas, but they are the spots that the villages kind of like adopted and took the land from in order to become more of the villages. So then switching gears a bit, some people put all of the focus on the house and will go to whatever area makes sense in order to find the home that they're looking for. Some are very adamant on the location and will make different floor plans work depending if it fits into the criteria of the location and their amenities. Again, there is no right or wrong way to go about this for your home search, but we have to kind of know what is going to work best for you and have that as our game plan when we immediately start our searches. So once you weighed all the factors, you will likely have a short list of like 2 or 3 areas that fit best what could work for you. And then we go a little bit deeper. We're going to compare resale versus new builds, walk neighborhoods, check out some local rec centers, and talk to future neighbors. You are allowed to just have a gut feeling and say, this neighborhood feels right. And that can be the everything that you need to go off of. Or you can be an overthinker like I am and run 1,000 different scenarios to make sure that you have an answer to every single option. In my defense, life doesn't always work that way. And sometimes it stresses me out more to have 15 things that could work instead of 1 or 2 that are going to work. Some questions that you may want to ask yourself to help narrow down your search could be things like, how far are my everyday needs to a grocery store, clothing store? What do I want that realistically to be? 10 minutes by car, 10 minutes by golf cart, 30 minutes by car, whatever you want. Then maybe, are there any special amenities that I'm really interested in? Maybe near a softball field, maybe near sports pools, water aerobics classes, dog parks, anything, walking trails. Would I rather be 15 minutes away from 2 squares or less than 5 minutes away from 1? If you had to pick one thing that you couldn't change, would it rather be location or floor plan? Choosing where to live in the villages can be overwhelming, especially if you are just starting your search and looking at everything online. It has to be intentional. So start small. Keep doing your research to make sure that whatever area draws you in the most is going to be a good fit. If you're going to be a snowbird or a full-time resident, maybe you have the ability to book a week or a longer lifestyle, like an extended stay through a private owner, to truly explore houses and what this area feels like on your own. If you need help narrowing it down or want boots on the ground, insight as to like what it feels like, I'm happy to help out. We do FaceTime tours, anything like that. I am here to give you as much answers about living here in the Villages, Florida. Just know whatever phase you're in right now, you're not alone. Everybody moving here had the same questions and hurdles to overcome before taking the leap as to if this is right for them. So thanks for watching. I hope this brought you maybe one step closer to finding your perfect place in the Villages, Florida. If you need some other videos to watch, I'll pin the video of me going over some of the different house categories and what they may mean. But stay tuned for more. I'm actively working on a few different areas and things that may help some of us when we're doing our searches, like neighborhoods that are going to be immediately around the square, some things that are going to be closer to shopping. And so we'll have those names of villages that we can really start to dive into and see if that is going to be a match for you. So give me time. There is a ton of things that we're working on and it's coming, I promise. But these are some of the first things that I want you to be able to look through, have some generalized questions as to what's going to work best for you, your house, your life, and get you into the villages. So I'll see you around the bubble. I've been seeing a couple of y'all at the square. It's so nice for y'all to pop up and say hi. If I'm dancing, I'm sorry. I'm white girl dancing, but I'm having a good time and I hope you are too. So be kind to one another. See you around.